Let's talk about something fun. Good day everyone, Dactablab here. As you might have already know, the second season of Arknights anime, Perishing Frost, has already ended. And as such, I decided to give my thoughts about it. This won't be so much a review, as I already gave my opinion about that in my past reviews, so if you expect something more elaborated, I'm sorry to disappoint, as this is more of me talking about this season for a bit. So with the formalities out of the way, let's start. Unlike the previous season, this one felt more, how to say it, they took more liberties. Not in the story-wise, but rather in how they presented the story. Instead of making a one-to-one recreation of the events narrated on the game, they make sure you felt what was happening, either by great animation, great cinematography, or the tool most used in this season, character interactions. While these are mostly used in other anime to deliver lore dumps, here they make sure to use each interaction as a way to know and understand the character we were watching. Something I always thought of the previous season, it was that it felt rushed. Not as in everything happened too fast, but rather, character appears, does something and then leaves. We don't know who they are or what their role was, they just appeared. I mean, it makes sense since they are characters for the game, so what's the point of expanding on them? But here it clearly seems that they didn't want to repeat that. They understood that was a mistake, and they cleaned it up. Now whenever a character is interacting with someone else, or sometimes even just talking to themselves, you can understand who they are. Biggest example, and at the very beginning of the second season, here's Amiya's little arc, about how she feels regarding Misha's death, how it weighs on her that she couldn't save her. Despite all the nice things she said, at the end of the day, she couldn't act on said words. This, as mentioned, becomes a little mini arc for her, where at the end of the season, she declares that her way of doing things is to try to save as many people as possible, even if it means getting into conflict with someone else. And had it not been for her infection, Rosnova might have gone with her, because Amiya showed her she isn't just words, she actually has the will to put her money where her mouth is. And this not only happened to Amiya, everyone who appeared in this season had a moment like this. Even the Doctor. I said it in the previous season and I will repeat it again. For a silent protagonist, he is clearly given a lot of character. Mostly because, well, he is one of the main characters, so of course we have to flush him out some way or another. While there's a lot of interactions, that doesn't mean everyone gets the same treatment. As we can see it with Blaze and Greythroat, who are also given a mini arc between the two of them regarding fighting for the infected and fighting because you want to understand the infected plight. But still they managed to make it work. Okay, I know this sounds paradoxical, but they knew they couldn't give all the time to everyone. So they make sure that what little time they could use, they make the best of it. As mentioned, Greythroat and Blaze interactions wouldn't last more than 10 minutes. There is this little technique they use to make you understand how they understand one another. At first, whenever they appeared in the same frame, they will eventually go separated ways, subtly telling you that these two do not look eye to eye to one another. Then we get to know the respective points regarding the infected, and by the end of things, we can see that, despite their differences, they are now able to stand side to side, literally leaning into one another as they walk forward. Very little time given, yet expertly used. Though even as much as they want to make Mephisto a sad character, I'm gonna keep calling him Twat, for a very good reason. If I felt really sorry for someone, besides the obvious one, that will be Sasha. I'm still impressed they managed to cram their backstory, his feelings toward the reunion movement, his reaction toward being abandoned by said movement, and how tragic his last moments were, not to mention how he was completely done with fighting, that I cannot stop but applaud it. They make a whole character arc in just one episode. I know it's not of the liking of everyone, precisely because of how short it was, but the fact they give him so much attention should not be ignored. Again, yes, not everyone received all the time in the world. Which makes it all the more interesting that they choose to make a whole episode regarding Shen and Hoshiguma's relationship. Gotta be clear here, I'm talking about the relationship as fellow officers of the LGD. And of course, Soir was there as well, giving us a more proper look of her personality, besides the antagonistic rich girl we saw at first in the game, bringing the relationship of these three characters to the foreground, letting us know that they really care for this city, for its citizens, and for its future, which makes it the more tragic once we reach the next season. And of course, we cannot talk about character development if we don't talk about the Yeti Squadron. Like Sasha, they were given very little time to shine. Yet, despite their being relevant in only one episode, they were so well written that despite you knowing what's gonna happen, because literally they spill it out to the previous episode, you still feel sad about it. You know it's gonna happen, you know it can be stopped. That's great character writing, which makes me feel like they clearly are trying to establish that this is not so much a conflict of good versus evil, but rather a series of very bad decisions aided by someone pulling the string on the side, which brought us to this horrible moment where nobody wins and only appearances are kept. But yeah, I think story-wise this was a very good season. Animation-wise, I'm gonna say it was great. I'm not gonna say it's revolutionary. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen has been proven that every episode for everyone working at MAPPA, because if anything this proves the studio right. But back on topic. While the animation is great, it's not something that will say, oh, it's that impressive. It has enough care and detail to carry the story, and it knows when to pump the action when it needs to, even when it's relatively short. Again, clearly this season was mostly interested in developing the characters. But here is where the devil is in the details. There was such use of camera placements, shots, and compositions that also helps with the story. I've mentioned in the previous mini-arc of Blaze and Greythroat. We can see something like this repeatedly throughout the story. Little actions that tell a whole bigger story with just very little details. Considering the amount of time they have to tell this story, this is a brilliant move, as it saves them enough time to keep focusing on the main topic of the season, the characters, while not ignoring what's going on behind the scenes, filling the gaps and also letting us know what's happening beyond what we are just seeing. I won't say everything's perfect though. Episode 4 still exists, and well, if it gave the team enough time to make the next episodes as good as they were, I will let it pass. But honestly, I would prefer there were no episodes 4 ever. But that's just me. Finally, and fittingly, I would like to talk about the ending. At first I didn't wanted to talk about it, as it seemed to be just a generic showcase of the enemy faction reunion, but once the ending changed, it's where I thought that was a brilliant move. Unlike the previous ending where it was just a continuation of the opening, this one actually gives us a hint at what's happening between the enemy lines, at how something is slowly eating at them, and how they are literally losing hope in the so-called movement. Perfectly emphasized by 9, a character I didn't expect to get so much attention. Again, it's not more than 10 minutes in the whole season. Tell us how much they care for the story, and how well they understand the characters. They know these are not just bad guys. They are people who have been pushed to the very limit and have come to this end. Honestly, I can understand if some people don't like this anime. It's not groundbreaking, but on itself, it's a very good reinterpretation of the events happening in the game, taking a bit of liberties but with very good payoffs in my opinion. Though, there is something else I would like to bring up. Yes, the anime helps us see what happened during these events, but something I always wanted to see would be a slice of life with these characters. Because yes, the story of Arknights is very bleak, but these characters have this energy in them that you want to see them succeed. And here's where Case Daily Doodles comes into play. Not surprisingly airing right after the anime, This very short series helps us see a more positive side of Rhodes Island, as well as the impact the company can have in this world. Like mentioned, yes, the world is bleak, sad and terrifying, but that doesn't mean we have to face it alone. That doesn't mean it can become a happier place. So these are my thoughts regarding this season. Like I said, nothing too deep, just my personal opinion regarding this season. And well, nothing else to say. With this, everything is finally out of my chest, and so I can look forward to my next project. If you have watched this long, I thank you for it. This has been Duck Double Up, wishing you all a great time. And as always, stay healthy everyone.